Part 15. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 141. Li Jiang was wearing clean blue cotton clothes and trousers, and a hat on his head that was popular among teenagers in the capital. Very coquettish. Seeing Wen Yu come out with Xiaoji and Laba, he smiled and said, "Girl." At the door, there is a brand new car parked. The carriage from my hometown has not arrived in the capital. Li Yuanji bought a new car. The driver found an old man who was familiar with the road conditions. Wen Yu also smiled when he saw Li Jiang's smiling face. "Li Jiang, are you familiar with the capital?" Li Jiang came with Master Cheng. He said proudly, "You're very familiar with what you're saying to me. Originally, Li Jiang could just drive the car for you, but my dad said that he has to do errands for the girl, so he can't take care of both ends." When you got in the car, and Li Jiang rode a donkey next to the car and kept talking, "Girl, Li Jiang has been to the shop we are going to open so many times. Oh, it's so grand. That location is ruined. Oh, girl, it's a Beijing saying that it's not cured, and it can't be any better if you mean it well. The houses are big, with a second floor and a backyard." Li Jiang asked around and found that the shops there were not something you could buy with money. It's not easy to rent one. Even if the original tenant made a lot of money, he could afford to buy a shop. MRSG gave it to you, how generous it was. I let your girl use it, but I didn't give it to you. Did you go in and take a look? I've seen it several times. The first time, it was someone arranged by MRSG to take it with me. Master Ching has also gone to see it several times. It's very close to the silver shop opened by Mr. Song Wu. There are several silver shops nearby. It's so prosperous. Oh, where there are many silver buildings, business must be good." Along the way, Li Jiang kept talking. After walking for a while, the car stopped. Laba and Xiaoji helped Wen Yu get out of the car. Li Jiang pointed over there and said, "Girl, go forward from this road, pass 3 intersections, and then turn right, which is the Song family's house." Where is it so close? She had lived in that house in her previous life, but she didn't know the location. "Isn't it? The door of the Song family's house is not obvious, but the house and garden inside are so nice, it's much bigger than us. Song Shang is still in white, and with the way he does things, he will definitely not be ostentatious. When you want to show off, you will probably book a first-class hotel in Beijing, Benji." Li Jiang called Men'er, and the man who opened the door was Jiangzu, the same family that Song Shang lent to her. Song Shang saw that Wen's language was easy to use, so he sent the whole family away. Jiangzu is taciturn, good at and kicking, and the whole family is very down-to-earth in their work. After entering the courtyard gate, you will see a courtyard, which is clean, quiet and transparent. The embroiderers and a few little girls live in the front yard. They work in the front living room on weekdays. In the small side yard in the middle, young Master Lanzhou lives. Miss Yan, Miss Mu, and Master Ching live there. The backyard. The kitchen is next to the backyard. Hearing the voices, Li Yuanji and Master Ching came out to greet Wen Yu. A group of people suddenly came out, all of them smiling. Wen Yu asked everyone if they were used to being in the capital, and everyone said they were fine. Yanzu heard the sound and ran over. "Ah you," he came up with Wen Yu in his arms. "Zuzu, are you cold in wearing so little?" Wen Yu touched her little hand. "It's not cold inside the house, but it's cold outside. Come in quickly." Yanzu pulled Wen Yu back. "How is Lanzhou?" Wen Yu asked as he walked. Master Ching followed behind and said, "When I got here, I showed it to the doctor. The doctor said it was fine and prescribed 3 doses of tranquilizing medicine. He didn't leave the house. The 2 turtles couldn't eat or drink when they got here. Young Master Lanzhou was worried, So Manager Lee explained for a long time, tortoises don't move in winter. Wait until the weather warms up. He just kept watch every day. I heard from Li Tan that he didn't eat much and slept well. When you said, we have traveled such a long way and are in a strange environment. It's good that he doesn't get sick for a while. Let's take care of him slowly. Entering the main hall in the backyard, many boxes were piled up and had not been packed out. A few people sat down, and Yanzu said, there are quite a few houses, but we are all crowded together. Otherwise, how much fire will be caused? Li Yuanji said, several chefs came to the fifth Master Song's house. They said that the fifth Master Song would not come to Beijing until after the Chinese New Year, so he asked them to cook here first. Therefore, the cook has not gone out to find anyone yet. Yanzu said, the food they cook is not delicious. Let them set up a small kitchen. I will cook for you every day from now on. We are going to open a restaurant, and you have to bring an apprentice. Oh, I can do it well, but I can't lead a disciple like Master Ching. Lingling, make some tea quickly. Hey, Mu Ling changed a lot and became very lively. Yanzu placed the snacks on the small table and saw Li Zhang go over to grab a handful and run away. Li Yuanji shook his head with a smile and took out the account book. Girl, this is the account of this courtyard. At present, we only bought this courtyard. And this, Mr. Songwu said that since you came to the capital, I'm afraid you won't be used to eating vegetables. Let me buy a small farm just to grow some vegetables for you. When you smiled and said, I'm not that particular. But if we want to open a restaurant, I'm afraid it's indispensable. I have already bought it and found someone. When Master Ching came, he also brought some seeds. We can only plant them in spring. You only bought 1 yard, didn't you mean to buy another one for your uncle to live in? When I came to the capital, I went to find my uncle. How is it, when you was very concerned? My uncle is not in good health and has no official career. He helps Mr. Mo with his official affairs on weekdays. He can be regarded as a staff member. Mr. Mo has arranged the uncle's academic status. He said that the uncle has some foundation in his studies, but he was delayed. Last time, Tong Shen was in danger. Past scholar, said it was still not enough. The uncle rented a yard near Mo Da's house. With Lord Mo's care and the money you gave me before, I can live a good life. I inquired about it secretly, and all I said was, that grandma has a lot of things to do, and she gets into trouble from time to time. Because I have a son, I am always angry with my uncle and my wife. It is said, that he had some unpleasant experiences with Mr. Mo's family. Furthermore, that young man is a bit naughty, doesn't study seriously, and even goes out to gamble with others. My uncle was caught and beaten so hard that my uncle and his wife became very angry. It was said that the fight was complete, but I checked privately and found that he was just doing it more covertly. Our uncle and his family came to see us here. I told you that you wanted to buy a house for my uncle and his family, and asked my uncle what he wanted. But my uncle disagreed. He said that it was convenient to live next to Mr. Mo. People who went out and came in every day would not have to run away. One more thing, as an uncle, he can't help you with the dowry when you get married, but he can't cause you any more trouble. Oh, I also went to tell my uncle about your engagement. He was particularly happy. Master Tuomo had been asking about the Chi family for a long time. I also wanted to see Mr. Chi Wu, but I didn't see him. My uncle seemed to be in a hurry. After Mr. Mo inquired about it, he was also very happy and said that you had come to the capital and invited you to be a guest. When you nodded, the situation was probably similar to what he thought. Let's talk to my uncle. I'll be there in the next 2 days. Don't tell the Wen family about this yet, wait until I straighten everything out. The uncle did not stand up, but the father was in trouble. Why give the Wen family a chance to be defeated in front of their uncle? Then, Li Yuanji introduced the general situation of the capital and several popular businesses. He also talked specifically about MRSG's shop, and he was full of praise. There is such a shop in the capital, and you can really eat while lying down. I heard that it was MRSG's dowry. The Kui family really loves their daughter. You are only Xiaoji's daughter, so you have to prepare your dowry early, Wen Yu joked. Xiaoji looked at her father longingly, and Li Yuanji laughed heartily. If she can get married, I will also give her a generous dowry. Your eldest son is not married yet, Li Zhang muttered in a low voice. He is not young anymore. But, marrying a wife is too troublesome. It's better to wait until you get along well with the girl and become a rich man, or maybe, if you flatter the girl's beautiful husband, who knows, you can even become an official. Gee, that would be great. When the time comes, marry a good one. That's the idea. Everyone was talking about business, while Li Zhang was dreaming. Master Qing waited for Li Yuanji to finish the introduction, and then talked about what he was doing. I taught several embroiderers new things. Everyone was very happy and said they would do a good job for the girl. The other few girls will talk to the girl later. To put it into detail, it's all good. I've been to the shop several times, and even went to other stores to learn from it. These. Master Qing took out a thick stack of paper. They are some of my new ideas, business features, etc. Even the furniture configuration has been taken care of. The girl has good taste. These are just for the girl to open her mind. Okay, when you took it? Last time, you said, you don't need to consider money when doing things, so I was. You're welcome. If you want to pursue this style, you have to use the same things. After all, it does cost a lot of money. I'm a little worried, in case the business fails. If you come up, you will suffer a big loss. Master Qing's face turned red. He was under so much pressure. Master Qing, you don't have to be like this. You have to remember, making money is important. However, it is more important for me to have a place in the capital. You mean? I am a woman, and I have so much money. What else do I need to do to make a living? Just the 400,000 promised by Song Shang. How many noble ladies in the capital can do this? Our place is here to help me build it. Master Qing suddenly realized, I understand, no wonder. We need a place to entertain women and girls, where they can drink tea, chat, shop and socialize. It's like moving the things in the back house here. Furthermore, communication in the back house is limited. Usually it is with people who are acquaintances and have useful relationships. Some families have to guard against others knowing about their interactions. Here, even if you don't know each other or can't socialize with them, you will meet them and become familiar with them. Now that we're familiar with it, what can't happen? What news can't you get? Everything comes naturally. It turns out that what I thought was simple, the girl has such a big heart. Master Qing looked at Wen Yu with bright eyes. A gentle smile. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 142. Chapter 142 Miscellaneous. The dispute between Yuan and her husband went nowhere. Wen Yu took the girl and went out in a big way. Wen Qian went to the palace to watch. Yuan and Wen Huan sat opposite each other, mother and daughter. Mother, Wen Yu is so arrogant. Although Wen Huan was angry and hateful, his tone was calm and his emotions were restrained. She found that Wen Yu's appearance changed again when he came in this time. Every movement is half a beat too slow. There is no shortage of etiquette, but he is arrogant and indifferent. As if she is already the marquis, she uses attitude instead of words to express. I married the best. I have the highest status. Bah! You can see Wen surrounding her. Wen Su, who was stingy and realistic, talked to her too much. Even the inexplicably arrogant Wen Jiao looked at Wen Yu and then at herself. making endless comparisons. When Huan's temperament, which he had developed over half a year, was already on the verge of breaking through. Yes, Huan I'm determined, Yuan is also very pragmatic. But the matter has come to this, don't panic yet. My mother asked people to follow her, I heard something, but it's of no use, let's see if we can get any clues. Mom, does Daddy see that she has a good future, regret what she did before, and want to ease the relationship? Yuanqi said coldly, this is very possible. It is human nature to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. Even your father is not immune to this. This is the second time the couple has had a conflict. The fight with the first time was minor. Afterwards, both of them tried their best to repair it. There is something different this time. Neither Wen Qian nor Yuan mentioned it again. Actually, Wen Qian thought that his mother didn't say anything and Wen's words were indeed difficult to control, so he let her go. However, Yuan believed that her husband wanted to ease the relationship because Wen Yu's good marriage was beneficial to him. Can she stop this? So, this is a misunderstanding. Because no one is trying to solve it, it is getting deeper. Mom, yesterday, my daughter heard County Master Shuchen talk about Prince Wu's fiancée. That girl, he is the granddaughter of Mr. He. I heard that her appearance is not ordinary enough, it can be said that she is quite ugly. My daughter, I think, Princess Wu is looking for Wen Yu because she chose such a real wife for her son and is looking for some stuff to make up for it. Well, princes and grandsons all get married based on their status. Mr. He is quite powerful. I also heard that there is a vacancy for the concubine, maybe it is planned to be reserved for a character like Wen Yu. You mean? Do you think it's possible to get a daughter? If it can happen, of course it will be great. I'm afraid it won't be easy for us to get there. Wen Yu's incident is just a matter of chance, and it's not because of her appearance. I blame your grandmother for this. It was clearly agreed upon. Yuan is still struggling with this. But it seemed that when Huan had already stepped out, it's up to people, give it a try. If you are naive and don't give a chance, there is nothing to regret. When Huan thought about Wen Yu's appearance, and his expression changed unconsciously. Wu Wangfu, Princess Wu has finished handling the matter, and her subordinates are sending news. She was surprised after hearing this. Miss Wen got engaged to the Qi family. When did it happen? That's after the Dharma assembly at Tianlong Temple. Who is the oldest member of the Qi family? Master Qi Wu. Ouch, she had seen that boy with her own eyes. At that time, my eyes were dazzled and my heart was racing. He is definitely a person who only hates meeting each other before they are married. But, Qi Wu is the legitimate son of the Qi family. Why, the two families are quite different. Originally, she couldn't even be a concubine. I originally thought, if I meet her at a 1,000-year event, and if we have a good relationship, I will give it to her. Personally decent. But I didn't expect that. Sigh, this princess has really good vision, why is it so late? If Wen Yu is targeting an ordinary family, you can still make some calculations. It's just that it's impossible to be a side concubine, so I can only be a concubine. But the one getting married is the Qi family, it's not easy to handle. Oops, how do you explain it to your son? This is the first time he has opened his mouth about such a thing. After dilly-dallying for a long time, there was nothing we could do, so he asked someone to go to Yongqing County Prince and tell the matter. The Prince of Yongqing County was extremely disappointed. It's okay if you don't like it. It's obvious that it caught your eye, but it doesn't work. He walked around in circles and cursed a few times. Qi Wu, Qi Wu, you are obviously so good-looking, why do you still want a good-looking wife? Aren't you afraid of being punished by God? The Prince of Yongqing County thought that he still had some friendship with Qi Wu. Moreover, people like him are the ones he should win over. Forget it. Forget about it. But my heart, Hurt so much. Hey, there was a girl at that time. You can always leave me alone, right? I'll check it myself. MRSG made an appointment with Wenyu to meet in the shop the day after tomorrow. Since you want to give it, hand it over happily. I, Kui Fenying, have this temper. MRSU, although Chi Xiao wanted to marry her, I didn't want to. But even after entering the door, I didn't expect to get along with her like this. Step by step, didn't she do it on her own? He wants something from me, but he still doesn't give me a good face. What's even more despicable is that he makes Chi Xiao go against me. Is there such a stupid woman in the world? I just heard that when Chi Xiao went back yesterday, MRSU didn't have an eyebrow at all and was making a fuss without mercy, insisting on being coaxed by him. Finally, Chi Xiaogu lost his temper and slammed the door and went out. Do whatever you like. I just pretend I don't know. Someone outside replied, Madam, the old lady is here to invite you. Humph, she was not disappointed at all. MRSG looked in the mirror. Fortunately, she didn't bother to put on makeup. I took the girl with me. Before I even entered the door, I heard the sound of talking and laughing inside. Old madam is here. Come in quickly, this was Tan's voice. As soon as MRSG entered, her husband, Chi Hua and his wife Wang, Chi Yu, Chi Xiao and Su, and Xiao Mao Er were all there. Chi Xiao's eldest daughter, Ru Bao is at Tan's side. The atmosphere is joyful and the family is shared. I am an outsider. It seems that Chi Xiao and Su have reconciled. They are very close to each other with smiles on their faces. I don't know what to say. Mother, General, MRSG saluted calmly. MRS Tan smiled and said, Fan Ying is here. Sit down quickly. Chi Yuyi hummed. Several sons, daughters-in-law, and daughters salute MRSG. MRSG nodded, and when she saw MRS Wang, she asked specifically, How is your mother? MRS Wang came over and spoke softly, My daughter-in-law came back late yesterday and didn't have time to greet you. My mother at home is feeling better, but the doctor who invited me said after seeing her yesterday that she has to have serious dietary restrictions. My mother usually eats the best food, but when she hears about the things she should avoid, she almost bursts into tears. MRSG shook her head and smiled, There is nothing we can do about it. Make up edible things. When she gets better, she can still eat those things that are taboo. Yes, the daughter-in-law will convey the mother's words. Wang was from a good family background and had a generous dowry. He behaves and speaks politely and in a leisurely manner. Much stronger than Sue's arrogance. Mrs. Su stood next to her husband, knowing that her husband was very nervous when her mother-in-law entered the door. Now I look at the way MRSG talks to MRS Wang. She is gentle and serious, which is much better than talking to herself. Then she got angry again. Normally, she would have said a few strange words. But in front of my father-in-law, and as soon as I reconciled with my husband, I tolerated it. MRS Tan's eyes turned and she said with a smile, If the Marquis can't come back during the Chinese New Year, we have to liven it up ourselves. The kumquats I planted have yielded a lot of fruit. If you have a day, please invite relatives and friends to let me show off. Chi Yuyi smiled and said, My mother's ability to grow flowers is one of the best in the capital. My son went to see it. The trees are full of orange and yellow, which really shows off. He wanted to say that he had watched Aunt Xiaoyun. But when the words came to his lips, he changed his words. I don't know if it's intentional. MRSG remained calm, I saw it with Xiaoyun, just say it openly, who cares? A grown man, this kind of virtue is really worthy of the old lady's inheritance. MRS Su also flattered MRS Ho appropriately, Grandma, hurry up and show off. That day, my granddaughter-in-law saw the kitten taking Ru Bao to pick and eat it. If you don't show off, it will be eaten all. Yeah, you didn't tell me that. I didn't even notice it. It's not possible, it's not possible, it needs to be watched. Kitten, baby Ruru, you can't eat it anymore. Everyone laughed again. You all know it, right? The fourth and fifth boys in our family are all married. MRSG looked at MRS10, wanting to hear what she had to say. MRS10 was still smiling. It's a pity that Xiao Xi's family is not in the capital. Otherwise, it would be a good idea to send 2 pots of kumquats. Fenying, you know where the Wen family lives? These 2 days have made, huh? Xiao Xiao, where are the 5 people? MRSG saw that the smiles of several people faded. I was about to fall asleep yesterday when I took a look at the comments and encountered a bug catching team. After changing it for a long time, I was sweating all over. So many mistakes. Thank you all, dear friends. I'll pay attention to it in the future. It's a pity that Xiaoxi's in-laws are not in the capital. Otherwise, it would be a good idea to send 2 pots of kumquats. Fenying, do you know where the Wen family lives? In the past 2 days, huh? Where are Xiao? The above sentence carries a lot of baggage. 1. Xiaoxi's in-laws family is in a remote area. 2. The Tan family is generous and generous. In order to love their grandson, they win over the Yu family. 3. The Wen family has no name or surname in the capital, nor does it have a house number. 4. Xiao knew that his father had returned to Beijing, but he did not show up. Her eyes are like stars. I'm just afraid that readers don't understand, so I'll explain it again. He. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 143. Chapter 143. Uncle's family. When Yu went to his uncle's house, he still took Xiaoji and Labo with him. King He watched the girl leave eagerly, sighing inwardly, why can't he get in? Bring Xiaoji along with her, because her whole family is following the girl, and the girl specially gave her the dignity. But that Laba, she was also a later one. It doesn't matter what you want, why does the girl trust you so much? Hong Xing, on the other hand, feels deeply unable to control her destiny. She is looking forward to Nanny Su coming, but is also afraid that she will come. Go to the small courtyard to pick up Yanzu first. Yanzu was dressed very dazzlingly today. Zuzu, why are you dressed so beautifully? It's the first time I'm meeting my godfather and godmother, of course I have to give them a good impression, Yanzu said beautifully. I recognize my parents, do I need to bring a salute? Of course. The cloak for the godfather. The godmother is a velvet with the word Fu on her forehead. The eldest brother's is a box of 4 wolf hairs. The eldest sister-in-law's is a 3-beaded hairpin. And the eldest nephew, oh my god, relatives come out like this all of a sudden. Too much. If I go there, I will die of poverty. My eldest nephew is a little gold lock. Hey, I didn't remember you had a gold lock. Yes, I packed it up when I moved to the capital. You gave it to me when I was a kid, but I put it under the box and forgot about it. Are there any cousins? Cousin, it's an embroidered veil cousin. Oh, I really don't have any money to give. Actually, there are a lot of things in the house, but Yanzu refuses to take them. The leather given to her uncle was left to her to make her own clothes. Just give me some silver shells. But that's for children. Humph, don't worry about adults and children, as long as it's gold and silver, he'll be happy. That still has to think about how to win over him. When I think about the bad things he did in the last life, I hate it. If it doesn't work, I will be disabled and lie at home. Uncle Chen and Aunt Chen are neatly dressed. I was restless there for a while. Speaking of girls, My aunt's eyes still get red for a while. After a while, I asked my eldest son Chen Wenxi to go out and have a look, and then I asked my second son Chen Wenliang to go out and have a look. Wenxi is honest and runs back and forth. But Chen Wenliang smiled playfully there. Dad, Mother, my cousin will definitely come as soon as we agreed. Why are you so anxious? Hey. I didn't expect that Chen Wenliang, would be here today. When my sister gets married, I can go to the home mansion as a guest. Yes. With this status, who dares to look down on me? Uncle Chen was very annoyed. If you don't read well and have no fame, where can you get face? Dad, you are too old-fashioned. These days, no matter how talented you are, it all depends on whose son you are. Nothing can beat a good one. The word father was not uttered, and Uncle Chen stood up to beat him. Chen Wenliang was very flexible. He turned around and ran out, but he almost ran into his sister-in-law Ma. Where did you hit? You're blind, Ma screamed. Why are you standing here silently? Listen to the window. Chen Wenliang was still dissatisfied. Ma was indeed eavesdropping, but she didn't care when she was exposed. She pinched her waist with both hands and said, how about you say you're blind? I'm walking here, who cares? What's worth stealing in this house? Listen. Boss, wife, please stop saying a few words. Aunt Chen sounded really outrageous, so she scolded her. Huh. You two don't have to be so nervous. If someone really marries into a high-class family, it's not certain whether they will recognize our poor family. If you ask me, I should get my aunt's dowry back first. Uncle Chen and Aunt Chen were unwilling to talk to her, and both had sullen faces. Ma curled her lips and said, isn't that right? If you don't have a son, why should the dowry be cheaper for the Wen family? The Wen family's girl is also named Wen, right? It's polite to leave her some dowry. You only paid so much, and you are so grateful. It's really, what's so great about it? If you don't come, you'll have to wait all morning. Chen Wenxi shouted there, Dad, Mother. Here comes. My cousin is here. Upon hearing this, Uncle Chen and his aunt looked at each other, both of them smiling. Younger sister Chen Wenjia showed up at the door sheepishly and whispered, Dad, Mother. My cousin is here, and my daughter is going to greet her. TCH, Ma snorted and sat down in a big manner, crossing his legs. There are really no rules. Aunt Chen looked at it with great distress. Originally I thought it would be lively, because Chen Wenliang was here and he loved making a fuss, but it was extremely quiet outside. Uncle and aunt looked at each other. What's wrong? Just the sound of footsteps was heard, and the curtains moved together. Uncle, aunt is here, my nephew is saying warm greetings. The voice was clear and exciting. Uncle Chen caught a whiff of fragrance before he could see the person clearly. With a flash in front of his eyes, two figures were kneeling on the ground. My godfather and godmother, greetings from Zuzhu, a waxy voice sounded. Uncle Chen and Aunt Chen's eyes immediately became wet. Especially Aunt Chen. The last time she went back to Zhangzhou, Uncle Chen went alone. So, this was her first time meeting Wen Yu. Get up, hurry up. The Chen family quickly stood up and helped each other. At first glance, Aunt Chen was speechless. Last time when my husband came back and talked about his niece, he said, she is born beautifully. Aunt Chen thought it was because her husband was close to her niece and thought she was sensible, so she praised her. But the two people in front of me, how beautiful are they? Two absolutely stunning beauties. But, which one is Wen Yu? Uncle Chen knew that his old wife could not recognize her, so he smiled mischievously, pointed and spoke warmly. Auntie immediately pulled Wen Yu and started crying. Ayu, good boy, we have you. Auntie, we are reunited, be happy, don't be sad, she warned gently, but even so, she couldn't stop crying. Yanzu was the most susceptible to infection, but she cried the most later on. Everyone saw it and laughed again. Sit down, Ayu, it's not my aunt who said that you don't look like your mother, you are much prettier than her, Aunt Chen said. Uncle Chen didn't like hearing it anymore. Why don't they look like each other? They are obviously from my Chen family. However, Ayu looks more like a younger sister. Thinking of the little girl he hadn't contacted yet, Uncle Chen also felt sad for a while. The three brothers and sisters of the Chen family stood there in a daze, looking at the two beauties in front of them. Why can't I understand how these two bejeweled beauties could be my relatives? Chen Wenjia felt even more inferior and her toes were scratching the ground. Mr. Ma stood up involuntarily, dumbfounded. He stared at the two of them carefully from head to toe, and finally, greedily fell on their clothes and jewelry. Hey! These two beauties fell from the sky. Ouch, what are they wearing? Don't say I don't have them, I haven't even seen them, Ma shouted excitedly. Yanzu was a little strange and glanced at her. When you didn't even look at it, and continued talking to his uncle and aunt, you two, you are in good health. Everything is fine, don't worry. Mr. Mo treats his uncle well and takes good care of his family. Life is very easy. Although Aunt Chen is not dressed so outstandingly, her temperament is very good. After suffering for many years, it is not easy to have such a smile. Ayu, have you met me just now? This is your eldest cousin Wenxi, cousin Wen Liang, and cousin Wenjia. You also have a cousin Wenhui who married Hu County. That's your eldest cousin, her maiden name is Ma. When you stood up and greeted several brothers and sisters. Chen Wenxi is of medium height, has a good appearance and a straight eye, but his temperament is a bit dull. Chen Wenliang is only 13 and has not yet grown up. Looks a lot like Chen Wenxi. He is still young and has not done many bad things yet. He just looked at the two beauties and his eyes wandered a little. You can see the joy, and the smile is so unsteady. Sister Wenjia is quite pretty and has the gentleness of a daughter in a boudoir. It's just that the charm is a little lacking. Mr. Ma, when you couldn't understand why the Chen family married such an eldest daughter-in-law. We are not from the same family as the Chen family. Let's not talk about her appearance. Just her superficial energy, it's obvious that she doesn't have a good tutor. When you didn't like Ma, and Ma was not happy, no one paid attention to what she said just now, and now she is the last to introduce. I have to let this newbie know how powerful I am. As soon as my eyebrows stand up, I feel like having an attack. When Yu Leng's eyes were fixed and he was so shocked that Ma was shocked and didn't dare. Cousin-in-law Wen Yu didn't even smile when facing Ma. The arrogance he exuded was overwhelming to Ma. Ma was a little frightened, so she forced a smile and said, "Cousin." When Yu responded lightly, yes, he turned around and pulled Yanzu up. A charming smile immediately appeared on his face. Uncle, Aunt, this is what you are mentioned. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 144. My name is Yanzu. She is the female companion left by her mother for Yuer. Yanzu's face was red and she was a little nervous. She is also the goddaughter that Yuer adopted for her uncle and aunt. Auntie let out an ouch and pulled Yanzu over. Zuzu, just follow Ayu and call me Auntie. I can't call such a beautiful goddaughter. Everyone laughed again. Yanzu said seriously, you are both godmother Zuzu and Aunt Zuzu. From now on, you just need to remember that no matter what the name is, Zuzu is calling you. Oh, this girl, my aunt patted her chest. The happiness came too suddenly and she couldn't bear it. Uncle moved his beard and smiled, anything is fine. You two little sisters support each other. It's not easy at this age. My dear, everyone is shouting, don't you express your gratitude? Okay, Auntie quickly picked up the box next to her. These two bracelets are a pair, the original items in the house are gone, and those that are used are gone. These are new ones. One for each person. I've wronged you both. I'll make up for it when things get better in the future. Ma's eyes swept over him like knives. Yanzu opened it beautifully, revealing a silver bracelet. The silver quality is very good, the carvings are exquisite and full, and the silver is sparkling. Hurrying to put it on, it's so beautiful. Thank you godfather and godmother. This is Zuzu's tribute to you and your elders. Yanzu took the things she wanted to give from Xiaoji's hand. Uncle, Aunt, Zuzu's craftsmanship is very good. She did all this with her own hands, when you explained. When my uncle looked at his cloak, he saw that it was still made of grey rabbit skin. Soft and bright, the color is very good. He was not ignorant, and said with emotion, Zuzu has a heart. Yes, Auntie looked at the forehead wiping in her hand, this job is really good. I was in the boudoir, but I asked a master to teach me, but I couldn't do it like this. Jier, you have to learn from Sister Zuzu. Chen Wenjia was very happy as she held the handkerchief in her hand. Her craftsmanship was not very good either. Yes. He hummed like a mosquito. Chen Wenxi took the pen and thanked him softly. Yanzu just handed it over, sister-in-law Ma grabbed it in his hand, opened it, and his eyes lit up. Pearls. She does have some gold and silver jewelry. It's impossible for my family to buy pearls for her. Even with the money she had to bring, and the money she got, she had to buy a lot of things. I'm not willing to buy this. I accepted the courtesy from my dear sister. Where is my cousin? Ma looked at Wenyu. Auntie said, how many New Year's gifts have been sent to Au these days? Just say less. Chen Wenliang got a purse from Shen Chen and opened a small opening. The light of silver flashed and stars appeared in his eyes. My cousin is here, and she also brought Sister Zuzu, which is really interesting. Sister Zuzu is so good looking, I can't go wrong with marrying her in the future. Alas, Chen Wenliang, your good days have come. You have to keep an eye on these two sisters, the god of wealth. Thank you, cousin. I wish Sister Zuzu a long life and marry into a wealthy family. Uncle was still nodding after hearing the first half of the sentence, but after listening to the last sentence, he pointed at him and got angry. When you also glared at Chen Wenliang. This is for my eldest nephew. Ma, she grabbed it again and said, it's so generous, I didn't expect that this goddaughter would be so talented. My father-in-law's fur cloak is also very good, why don't you give it to me? When you said, Aunt, you will take my cousin away for a while. Let her live with Zuzu for a while, and the two of them will be companions. It just so happens that there is a young master over there. His vision and work are all first class, whether he can learn or not. Yes, let my cousin teach me. Then, will it be too much trouble for Zuzu? Yanzu quickly said, no trouble, no trouble. There is a girl Lingling in Zuzu's house. She should be about the same age as Sister Jier. You two can play together. Aunt Chen looked at her daughter, shy but a little yearning, and nodded, sure. Then go. If you find her troublesome, send her back. When Ma heard this, he was even more unhappy. She took a trip to that yard. It was much better than the one where she lived. Furthermore, if you move in, when you will marry you sooner or later. At that time, won't it be yours? They talked cheerfully, but they didn't mention themselves much. The eldest son's daughter-in-law also gave birth to an eldest grandson, why should she be looked down upon? Hey! Cousin, why don't you invite your cousin-in-law to live here too? Look at our room, 1 room and half a kong. Your house is so big, can't you make room for 1 room? Chen Wenliang was also thinking about this. When Ma said it, he said cut. When you tilted his head and said calmly, there are a lot of houses in that yard. But, I asked my uncle and aunt, but they refused to live there. You are the daughter-in-law. If you don't respect your parents-in-law and serve your husband, why don't you go to the house? I live in someone else's house. My sister is afraid that my cousin will be known as unfilial and unkind. Uncle and aunt hated it most when Ma opened his mouth, but when they saw Wen Yu's attitude, they looked at each other and were a little stunned. Au has a good attitude towards all of them. Why do you treat Ma like this? This is the first time we have met. Well, it seems that Mr. Ma is just not lovable. Mrs. Ma was annoyed when she saw that the wealth in front of her seemed to have nothing to do with her. I just said that, so you don't have to block me with words. It's true, if you marry into the Chen family, you won't live a good life. Uncle Chen's face darkened, but as a father-in-law, he had no reason to talk to his daughter-in-law. Mr. Ma, what are you talking about? My aunt was so angry. When you came back for the first time, she made trouble regardless of the severity. Sister-in-law, what kind of good life are you living at your parents' house? This is what Chen Wenliang is talking about. Ma's family, if there is meat in the dishes, it means celebrating the new year. When you come in, you only have a small baggage. If you don't enter the Chen's family, can you wear silk and satin and have your hair shiny? Ma she rolled his eyes at him, do you care? Marry a man, dress, and eat. I married into the Chen family and gave birth to a son, so you have to take care of what I eat, drink and wear. I can't care less, you can go back to your parents' house to eat, Chen Wenliang said. Chen Wenxi's face turned pale with anger. Okay. I have a niece who is going to marry into the Marquis's house, so you dislike me. Mrs. Ma and Chen Wenliang were quarreling with red faces, but their eyes were squinting at Uncle Chen and Aunt Chen, as if they were not afraid of anything. I have disliked you for a long time, now I have even more reasons to dislike you, Chen Wenliang spoke quickly. Wen Yu feels that Chen Wenliang and Li Zhang should be very happy together. Uncle Chen took a look and saw a grown man quarreling with a woman. Wen Liang, you grown men are making such noise. All your reading is in vain, he was angry at his son. Isn't it just that he studied in vain? It's just money and he can't learn anything. He should have been allowed to go out to carry a big bag, Ma said contemptuously. Mr. Ma, please go back to your room, Aunt Chen was furious. Did I say something wrong? It was common for Mr. Ma to talk to her mother-in-law. What kind of family are we? We have to support two people to study? Chen Wenxi passed the Tongsheng test after all, so he should be the only one to support him. My son will have to go to school in another 2 years, not to mention saving money. So proud. Instead of filling a hole for this trash, you might as well buy me some clothes. Look at what they are wearing. What should I wear? Mr. Ma grabbed her sleeves and complained sharply. Uncle Chen twisted his face in disgust, and Aunt Chen pointed at her angrily and was speechless. Chen Wenxi lowered his head with anger reaching his forehead. Chen Wenliang had a look of ridicule on his face. Even if you put on the gold-threaded clothes, you still can't touch the dirt on the uppers of my two sisters' shoes. That's better than a loser like you. Chen Wenxi. I was bullied at home, so you are glorious, right? You are in your 20s and you can't even get an official position. You eat and drink for free at home, and I suffer too. Why don't you point this into the yard and slap his mouth? Chen Wenjie clenched her hands nervously. When you looked at him coldly, Mr. Ma is really powerful. One person can mess up a whole family like this. Aunt Chen was really helpless and said, you guys all go down, your father and I have something to say to you. Ma stood up suddenly and said, what's so great? Don't think that if you become Guanou's wife in the future, you can act arrogant in front of me. He turned around and left. Laba, follow me and bring my eldest nephew, I haven't seen him yet, Wen Yu ordered. Mr. Ma would beat her children when she went back, then Chen Rui burst into tears, and the two old people were dumbfounded. This is her routine. I will lead the way, Chen Wenliang hurriedly walked out. Laba, The clouds are clear and the wind is clear, following behind. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 145. Chapter 145 Let me go. Chen Wenxi saw her younger brother taking that girl to take care of his son. He knew Ma's strength, so he couldn't help but worry. When Yu smiled at him and said, "Cousin, it's okay," that smile was very calm. He is more stable than his cousin. Auntie said apologetically, "Brother Rui has a bad temper when he sleeps. If you wake him up, he will cry and give you a headache. So, don't worry, it's too late for him to be happy when he sees me as his aunt, and he won't cry." But my uncle and the others were still looking outside with worried faces. Mr. Ma was not sure what he was going to do. As a result, no, it was very quiet outside. After a while, Laba came in carrying 3-year-old Chen Rui lightly. Chen Wenliang followed quietly. Chen Rui's face was filled with tears, but he stared wide-eyed but did not cry. Aunt Chen Wenliang asked quietly, "Where is your sister-in-law?" Laba smiled, "Uncle, Mrs. Chen is tired and wants to take a nap." Uncle Chen sighed, "You take Rui to play in the next room, and Uncle will talk to Au." So, Yanzu supported her aunt, and a group of people went to the next room. Chen Wenliang didn't want to leave, but Uncle Chen glared at him and he had to go. I rolled my eyes, stood by the door after entering the house, and stretched my ears, maybe I can hear it. Laba glanced at him indifferently. Chen Wenliang shrank his neck and obediently entered the next room. Uncle sighed and shook his head, "Au." He felt very uncomfortable for his niece to see him like this. "Uncle, there's no need to be sad, let's talk to you about your situation first." Uncle Chen said, "When I arrived in the capital, I went to find Mr. Mo. Mr. Mo is such a good man. He was very kind to my uncle. He said at the time that he would help his uncle in his official career. As a result, my uncle's health was not good enough. As soon as he settled down, he fell seriously ill. It was off and on, and it took more than half a year to get better. The doctor said that he would not be able to bear the stress and fatigue in the future. Lord Mo said, it would be better to stay with him and do what you can. Although there is no glory or wealth, there is no shortage of food and clothing. It just depends on whether the son has improved." The uncle thought for a while and decided that this was better, so he stayed with Lord Mo. Fortunately, when it comes to official business, he is relatively easy to handle. That being said, it's really suitable for my uncle. Yeah. But when I heard about your engagement, my uncle was a little confused. From a family like the Chi family, if my uncle doesn't have power or wealth, how can he earn money for you? Uncle, you think too much. MRSG personally chose our daughter. In the Chi family, if my mother-in-law doesn't embarrass me, how can others embarrass me? You don't have to worry about the dowry. URK there is no shortage, and now we want to open a big shop in the capital. However, if you use all the ones your mother has, you won't be able to open a big one in the capital. You don't have to worry about this after the new year, we will start preparations now." Yor wants to ask, "Cousin, what are your plans?" "Your cousin, I have never stopped teaching. It's just that things at home had a great impact and he couldn't calm down. Later, well, I married this wife, I'm afraid I missed him even more. At this age, Mo my uncle and I looked at it and thought that no matter how hard he worked, he would be able to become a scholar. Uncle, why did my cousin marry such a cousin? She didn't know much about her before. The family is not willing. It is the Ma family and the Ma family who have taken a fancy to your cousin. Who are the people she could marry? So, it must be said that your cousin has soiled her innocence. The whole family is not reasonable and noisy. At that time, the family had saved some money, and originally did not want to marry your cousin, but wanted to send him to a college secretly. As a result, The Ma family took a fancy to him, all his money was taken away, and everything was ruined. Sigh, your aunt was almost mad to death. That's it, then I won't feel burdened at all. Just leave it to me. Your eldest cousin is diligent, hard-working, and not very talented. If it turns out, with hard work, he might not be able to win. But now, his mentality has collapsed. Ma's trouble today will probably not be relieved for a few days. Come. Where is my little cousin? That kid has a good brain, but he's lazy and doesn't work hard at school. He just likes to play outside, and he'll chase after whoever is good. He even went gambling a few days ago, and I gave him a good beating before he got better. What a fart. You have to let me go. Where's the eldest sister? Uncle Chen even smiled bitterly when he heard this. Chen family, why have we come to this point? He let out a long sigh and then said, the one your eldest sister married looked good at first. But after marrying her, she found out that she was nothing. She even beat her up. When we came back, we didn't know what the future would be like. Let's see her suffer. There is nothing we can do. When I met you later, you gave her so many gold and silver items, so your aunt sent her a message and some silver, hoping to make her feel better. When I arrived in the capital, I sent another letter. I just replied to the letter a few days ago. It was from your cousin-in-law. He didn't say anything or asked anything, and he asked for money. Does the eldest sister have a child? She has 2 sons, otherwise, my uncle would never get her back. Uncle, even if this is the case, try to find a way to bring my cousin back. Once you've done it, you can still bring the child back. But it's unreasonable for the Lin family to enter the Chen family. In the face of life and death, there is nothing unreasonable. If you don't do something for your cousin, what will you 2 elders do if something happens to her? But this is not easy to do. You just need to tell me whether you will pick up my cousin if she comes back. That's my eldest daughter, how could you not accept her? She is exiled with us and is suffering the most. That's it? Uncle, let's do this. After the new year, let my eldest cousin take someone to bring my cousin back. It's useless for my eldest cousin to study hard now. He must do something to make him feel responsible. And it's a matter of industry confidence. Otherwise, reading is in vain. Ifs. Take it one step at a time. These things can be easily solved. You and your aunt, if you don't get angry and are in good health, you can give your children and you are the greatest help. Sure, uncle listens to you. Uncle asks something, you have to tell the truth. You say, my uncle asked you last time, but you didn't answer. I will ask you again, is your guard against the Wen family because there is something fishy about your mother's death? When you was silent. That's my sister. Your grandmother loves her the most. If something happens at home, your mother and your aunt will have a hard time in your husband's family. It's human nature. So, tell me. As my uncle said, if the Wen family killed their mother just because something happened to the Chen family and they were afraid of being implicated, it would be considered human nature. But what if the mother's death was a destined conspiracy? You mean? Yun is the daughter of one of my father's husbands, and they have had an affair for a long time. My father married my mother just because of his parents' orders. It was only a matter of time before he took action for the sake of Yun. It's just that something happened to the Chen family, and they were emboldened. This bastard, the uncle's eyes were wide open and tears were streaming down his face. Looking at how handsome he is, I didn't expect him to be so dirty. Wen Huan is half a year older than me. Disgusting. Is there any evidence? It has happened many years ago and there is no evidence. There is no evidence and I am not afraid. He Wen Qian married the Yun family without the consent of the Chen family. The Chen family was just exiled, not all dead. Based on this, my uncle can make him lose face. Uncle, there is no trace of the past and there is no need to retrieve it with characters like them. they are destined to do dirty things again as long as we take the opportunity. Okay. But no matter what evidence you get, your uncle must come forward. You are his daughter. Even if the evidence is conclusive, it is a crime to accuse him and it will be detrimental to your reputation. It is important to seek justice with your mother, but you can living a good life is your mother's greatest wish. Uncle. Wen Yu's eyes were wet and he was very moved. You understands. When Wen Yu left, he really took Chen Wenjia away with him. Mr. Ma never came out. After sending Wen Yu away, her aunt was puzzled and quickly called her younger son. What is she doing? Chen Wenliang said, Mom, that girl. She's so powerful. When Ma Kuiwa went back, she hit Brother Rui. Brother Rui cried, and she wanted to do it, then she fell to the bed with a bang and stopped moving. Brother Rui cried louder. The girl grabbed him at once and looked at him. Brother Rui choked, didn't dare to cry. Is this happening? Did that girl hit Ma? No, I didn't even understand it. After hearing this, my uncle thought about it and nodded calmly. Don't underestimate her. One more thing, Yu Yetu said, after the new year, let Wensi take the people to bring Wenhui back. Huh, how to connect? She said that it would be enough to separate, and it would be enough to come back with a letter of divorce. What about the children? The child is also from the Lin family. If you are willing to let go, we will raise it for the Lin family. If not, just let him go. No matter what, it is better than taking the big girl away. Then, who is Wen-si taking with him? Wensi, your cousin said that she will arrange for someone to follow you. I think your cousin is right. If you continue to read your book like this, I'm afraid it won't work. Go and pick up your sister and let her know. Or your mind will be open. Wensi nodded, yes. Before I go, my son will go read the law. Ma Shi woke up feeling dizzy and had a headache. He even vomited after drinking water and couldn't get out of bed for several days. It's quite quiet at home. Before going out, first finish this paragraph. Monthly tickets have been huge these days, thank you. DGDXM Big Baby, I've added more updates. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 146. After coming out of Uncle's house, Wen Yu sent Yanzu and Chen Wenjia back. Zuzu is my sister, Aja, don't be formal. We also have Lanzhou and Mu Ling at home. They are all very nice. If you need anything, just ask Zuzu. Zuzu cooks delicious food. I don't talk to you on weekdays. We live together but go there almost every day. Hey, Chen Wenjia agreed honestly. Yanzu lifted a corner of the car window and looked out at the street scene. Wen Yu said in the car, while Li Zhang said outside, girl, have you seen this tall building in front of you? It's one of the two major casinos in the capital, Beifang Casino. It's awesome, I don't know how much money goes in and out every day. Beifang Casino, so familiar? When you suddenly remembered, stop for a moment and let me take a look. The doorway is wide and convenient for parking. When you stopped the car a little further and stuck his head out to take a look. Li Zhang is the commentator, look, it's 5 stories high. The 4th floor is the VIP room. Don't even think about going in if you don't have thousands of taels of silver. The 1st floor is the biggest, so you can look around, but don't make any trouble. Otherwise, you can look outside. Some strong men know how to beat people. Li Zhang was talking enthusiastically when someone was passing by and stopped. That man is tall and has yellow-black skin. He has thick eyebrows and his face seems to be injured. Wearing an exaggerated black mink cloak, followed by several servants. It looked like he was going to Octagon Casino. He glanced at Li Jiang, and then looked around at Wen Yu, who had a small face in the car. Blurred out, "Miss Wen." As soon as Wen Yu heard the voice, his heart moved. "Turn around and look at, a strange face, who is this? Why are you here?" He spoke again, and this time Wen Yu understood him clearly. "Chi Wu." Wen Yu blinked hard, which proved that it was him, but there was something wrong with him. "Who are you?" "Yele tea house over there, on the 3rd floor, I'll wait for you there." After saying that, he left. Li Jiang was also smart. He took a step forward excitedly and said softly, "Girl, it's the 5th master." When you said, "I understand. Laba is coming with me." "Li Jiang, send them back and wait for me back here." Yes, Li Jiang did not dare to be verbose. Laba helped Wen Yu get out of the car. The master and the servant walked forward for a while, and Laba said, "Girl, it seems we have tails." Wen Yu understood it as soon as he heard it. It was strange that she came out without a tail. She said a few words to Laba, then slowly walked forward while looking at the shops on the roadside. After a while, we arrived at the Yele tea house. Perhaps someone had ordered him in advance. A waiter, accompanied by a female tea server, greeted Wen Yu warmly. Laba said a few words to the waiter. Then, the female tea server went up to the 3rd floor with Wen Yu. As soon as I came up, the door opened and Chi Wu stood inside. Neither of them spoke. After Wen Yu went in, Laba closed the door and stayed outside. Downstairs, a man wanted to enter the store, but he stuck his head around. The waiter in the store asked with his nostrils turned upward, "Are you drinking tea? Or buying tea?" That man can't do anything when he looks at this luxurious tea house. The man blocked the door and wouldn't let him in. He could only smile and leave. Wen Yujin's room was very large, with many things. There was a huge desk against the north wall. Large carpet on the floor. The walls of the room were covered with thick curtains, and many lamps and candles were lit in the room. There is a charcoal basin in the middle, which is very warm. "Sit down," Chi Wu said. Wen Yu took off his cloak, revealing a light pink silk cotton jacket and pleated skirt. This is how she dressed up deliberately in front of her uncle and aunt. Chi Wu felt at ease and felt that such gentle words were very good. Wen Yu looked at Chi Wu carefully and said, "You look like this, I really can't recognize you. Why has your face changed? He's also a little fatter." "I had something to do, so I did it specially." "What day did it arrive?" "It's been 3 or 4 days. I wrote a letter to Madam. I haven't been home these days." "Are you checking Beifang?" "Yes. I have an appointment with my wife. See you tomorrow," he said with a gentle smile. "Then, this time I have to go alone, and I can't get away." "You will go as soon as you are free?" He can still talk this time. "This is your place. Forget it, if you are in a hurry, you can send a letter here." Okay, the two were silent for a while, and Wen Yu didn't know what to say. The same goes for Chi Wu. Once stopped, the atmosphere becomes tense. The two looked at each other for a while. Chi Wu's makeup was very special, and even the shape of his eyes changed. But his posture, voice, and Wen Yu are still familiar. I don't know why, Wen Yu suddenly wanted to laugh, smiled a little, and then held it back. The halo of the candle reflected the appearance of Wen Yu's daughter. Chi Wu felt like he had drank 2 jars of wine. He has not been idle since he came back. There are many things going on every day. However, sometimes before going to bed, this woman's beautiful figure will move around for a while. Feeling that my face was getting hot, I spoke first. My mother said that I should go to the Wen family during the Chinese New Year. Our marriage was decided by my wife. The rest of your family didn't object, right? It's okay. Fourth brother said that after the New Year, the Zhang family girl will also go to Beijing. As soon as he said this, when you thought of business, I just have two things to say to you. Is it convenient for you to listen now? Say it. I heard that Magistrate Zhang and his brother were suppressed for so many years because they had a problem with someone. He Ji Lao. Are you still suppressing now? I do not know about this. When you said, I grew up with several children of the Zhang family since I was a child. Zhang Zhangqing, the son of Zhang's Hifu, has already started working with me. He helped me a lot when I entered Beijing. I needed someone who knew the basics and could handle the situation. These trivial people, do you have any way to transfer him to the capital? I can do this too. Some things are very trivial. I can't always go to you. Okay, call him. Originally, Wen's words needed to be polished a little more to convince him, but he agreed immediately and that was the end of it. Feeling like I am lifting a weight with ease. Okay. One more thing. I just went to my uncle's house. At first, my uncle's family was involved in some affairs and fell into decline. They settled in the capital. Do you know Mr. Mo in the court? Heard about it? Well, my uncle is helping him. My little cousin at home has a lot of bad habits. My uncle's strict control has had little effect. I think he can't study well. Is there a place where I can throw him in and give him a good practice? Study these skills will give me a reason in the future. I'm worried that if he continues like this, he will be useless. How big is it? Less than 14. Okay, Chi Wu agreed, it will be a little bitter at first. Your uncle won't feel bad, right? I don't feel bad. But I need to be stricter and don't let him get away. Can't run away, make arrangements after the new year. Things went so smoothly. When you had his thoughts settled, so he looked at him carefully. You look like this, are you doing something dangerous? Most of them don't want people to recognize them. The danger is not bad, at most, nothing can be done at present, there is no risk to life. That's okay, Madam is going to let me take care of the shop. Chi Wu didn't care about the matter. Laba, was he sent by you? So be it. Although it was not sent by him, it almost means the same. She's quite capable. It's still done. Why do I always ask him questions? Do you have anything you want to tell me? These words made Chi Wu a little nervous. What should I say to her? He blinked his eyes and his mind was spinning. What should he say? The more nervous you are, the less you can remember. Well, next to the shop you and your mother are going to, there is a mutton soup restaurant on the corner of the street. It tastes very good. How about you and your mother go there to try it at noon? There is a private room. At noon, I may go back to the yard I bought for dinner. There are 2 shops, and maybe a restaurant. Let my wife give me some advice. A restaurant, that's very good. Grandpa's food is delicious, but after my grandmother passed away, his life was dull. When the restaurant opens, I will take his old man to support him. I will also take my friends to eat. I know how to take care of my own business, that's pretty much it. When will you go home? In 2 days. The two of them sat there for a long time just like this, she asking him questions. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 147. In a small courtyard in the east of the city, Qin Lianyu had just sent away the second young master Zhang. He came to deliver something again. Since she came to the capital, this kind of thing has happened many times. It is the Duke's mansion after all. Du Lu and Qin Lianyu sighed as they looked at the gifts that filled most of the room. Daughter, your good days have come. Qin Lianyu smiled and returned to her room. The girl Aki came over and said, Girl, I still haven't seen anyone today. I haven't seen you yet, hasn't he even gone home? My servant is at the side door, and my brother is at the front door. We will guard him for a whole day. Aki thought to himself, he was almost freezing to death. The men of the Qi family can all be seen by those who work in court. But the fifth son is not seen. Trash, Qin Lianyu said angrily. Maybe he went out to do some business. Where is my aunt? MRSG's car came out twice. Forget it, don't go now. Mother sees you are not here today, and she still asks about it. Mother cannot know about this. The Qin family has a small house in the capital, which is used by the clan members. It would be a bit unsightly to marry from there to the Duke's mansion. So, currently, the mother and daughter of the Qin family live in the empty house of their great-grandfather's students. The owner of the house was very kind to them and made the arrangements very comfortable. The second son of Zhang is a diligent person. He made a special trip to see her, stopped by to see her, sometimes even twice a day. This made Qin Lianyu very proud. If Wen Yu had not been seen on the boat, she should have entered such a day. But, she saw. The servant is also reporting to Mr. Yuan. The eldest girl is a tenant in the small courtyard where she lives. She has only moved there for a year. She is not familiar with the neighbors and has never interacted with them. Someone saw the man in the family going in and out of the nearby Lord Mo's mansion every day. Two of them my son was studying. I didn't inquire about anything else, and I didn't dare to ask too many questions. Later, the eldest girl went out to a very high-end tea house and couldn't follow her. Go down, keep following, I want to see what this girl is doing. When you returned, Mrs. Wen called her over. Grandma. Girl, what have you been doing all day? After the new year, we're going to open a big business, my granddaughter needs to look around, Wen Yu said half-truthfully. What a big deal. MRSG sent someone to deliver a message. In a few days, the fifth young master will deliver New Year's goods. This is the etiquette. When you had just met the person and was not too surprised. Old Mrs. Wen saw Wen Yu's calm look and really couldn't understand this girl. If I had to change it to a few others, I would have been nervous as soon as I heard the news. My granddaughter is going out tomorrow, whatever grandma wants to eat, my granddaughter will buy it for you. Don't want anything. Don't go out every day, the old lady was a little anxious. In the past 2 days, guests have been arriving at home one after another. I'm afraid many people have also heard about your marriage. They wanted to see you when the time came, but you were not there. People don't know that you are a busy man, and they thought that our family was deliberately trying to get you. Old Mrs. Wen complained. Yes, Wen Yu agreed with a smile, but didn't take it seriously at all. The next day, after freshening up and dressing up, we set out again. Mother Kui is waiting at the door of the shop. As soon as Wen Yu got out of the car, Aunt Kui came up to greet her with a smile on her face. Miss Wen. Mother Kui, please wait. Miss Wen is so polite. Madam has just arrived and is waiting inside. Is Yuan here? Miss Yuan didn't come. The little rabbit is sick. Huh, what's wrong? She fed the rabbit too much, and the rabbit didn't know it was full and was overstretched. Move it out for 2 days, and it will be fine when it is hungry. Yuan is very anxious, right? Isn't it? The little turtle stopped eating and was very anxious, the two people said, and went up to the second floor. The door of a living room was open, and MRSG was sitting there drinking tea. Madam, Wen Yu stepped forward and saluted. When MRSG saw Wen Yu, she was dressed in light purple and had a bright smile, which was really pleasing to the eye. Good boy, come here and let me take a look. MRSG stretched out her hand. Wen Yu came over, his face pink. Are you still used to it after arriving in the capital? Very accustomed to it. Sit down quickly, I'm worried that you are afraid of the cold. It's warm in the house, it's almost Chinese New Year, and it's not that cold anymore. Isn't that right? When the spring comes, you will feel warm in a flash. How are you, madam? I'm fine. It's just that Xiao Wu is not at home these days, so I don't know what he is busy with. Otherwise, I would have dragged him here. When you said in his heart, I saw it. As a man, business matters are the most important. These words made MRSG even more satisfied. Look, how sensible this girl is. How is it like Mr. Su? I always wonder what Chi Xiao is doing every day. Why does it take so long? Who did you go with? He won't take me out either, he will pester me endlessly. How are your grandmother and father? Grandma is in good health. She was more energetic than our sisters all the way to the capital. I heard that my father's official business went well. That's good. I thought Yuan would come today too, Zuzu keeps asking her. I took Yuan out for such a long time, and her mother was really worried. Mother and daughter are stuck together every day. Madam, have you told her parents about Yuan? There was a trace of sadness on Ms. Kui's face. I told Yuan's father. Her father said, don't tell her mother yet. Yuan's mother has the title of county princess. She has a cheerful temperament and is also arrogant. If she knew, she wouldn't blame me, but if such a big mistake happened, how could she feel better? Especially since the culprit has yet to be caught. When you thought for a while and then said, at that time, I was worried that it would be harmful to Yuan if it spread out, so I coaxed her and said that she fell chasing a rabbit. But Yuan didn't know the seriousness of it. She refused to admit it and still argue with me. Later, she really liked the little rabbit, so she compromised. Would you like to discuss this with your brother? What if the county lord passes Yuan in the future, or if others find out, what will they think? That's it, I really haven't thought about it. Because later, Yuan didn't mention that matter again. But, you are right, what if Yuan thinks of it one day, or someone else leads her to say it? Brothers and sisters, if she misunderstands our siblings and deceives her, it will be troublesome. You can discuss this with your brother again. What when you said may not be right. Good child, you are very considerate. MRSG patted her hand. This year, the Wen and Qi families have not met each other. I have arranged for Xiao Wu to go to the Wen family to deliver New Year's goods. Xiao Wu's grandfather, my uncle, and aunt have heard Yuan talk about you very much. They all really want to see you during the Chinese New Year. I hope the Wen family will visit the Kui family. When you was a little embarrassed, the fifth young master Qi is so outstanding, the elders of the Kui family must be very fond of him. Do they dislike Wen Yu? How could it be? It's too late for them to like you. Xiao used to go to school outside, and most of the time he returned to the capital. He lived in the Kui family. He practiced martial arts with several cousins, and they have a deep relationship. Then when the time comes, you must be the backbone of Wen Yu. MRSG was happy to hear Wen Yu speak. Although you are a girl from a civil servant family, you have a cheerful temper. The Kui family will definitely like it. She felt more and more that the failure of her marriage with the Qin family was God's favor for her. How can that pretentious Qin Lianyu compare with the girl in front of her? Snobbish Du Luer, when he arrived in the capital, he didn't dare to come to the Qi family, and even sent gifts and notes to the Kui family. My sister-in-law refused directly. You are so thick-skinned. The letter says that you have a house in the capital. Yes, it's in Fangjing Hutong. Madam, will you go and take a look later? Currently, Yanzu, Lanzhou, the master I invited, and several embroiderers live there. Yanzu is cooking at home. She is very good at cooking. It's delicious. Can you try it, madam? Okay, let's go after watching it. I already have some ideas about this shop, and I would like to ask madam to hear them. Okay, come on, let me tell you. Why? MRSG stood up, held Wen Yu's hand, pointed and started to speak. These two shops are my dowry. Madam's family, what a generous gesture. When Wen Yu came to inquire, everyone knew about this place. When you looked at the high roof, the hanging lights, And the bright room. MRSG's smile showed wrinkles. My family bought it early. We bought the land and built it ourselves, using good materials at that time. This area was not so prosperous, so the price was not bad. When you go out and look to the left and to the right, there are 2 sets each, which belong to my brothers. They have all been rented out, and my family has no time to do anything. The boss of my 2 houses has done very well and made a lot of money. He also bought a shop. MRSG led Wenyu to look upstairs, downstairs, and in the backyard one by one. Wenyu was very attentive. He secretly incorporated Master Ching's design and found that most of the places were to his liking. Only a few need to be adjusted. Last time, MRSG's men took Master Ching to read it. Master Ching had a lot of ideas and sorted them out. But after all, Wenyu had never done such a big thing. Moreover, he was particularly convinced of Madame's vision. After a while, Wenyu, I want you to take a closer look and make your final decision. My taste is really good, MRSG said proudly. 2 people chuckled. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 148. After looking at the shop, she said, "Ah, you. Come and ride with me." MRSG smiled and pulled Wenyu into her car. Laba came up and whispered to Wenyu. Wenyu replied. I got into the car with MRSG. Arrived at the small courtyard, Jiangzu and Li Yuanji met at the gate. After MRSG got out of the car, she looked at the street and saw that the people living around her were decent. The door is low-key and neat. Enter the courtyard, it is clean and tidy, the house is facing south and north, and has good light transmission. I couldn't help but shake my head. Did a little girl who had never been to the capital buy this for herself? At her age, I am high-spirited and bold, which is better than her. But when it comes to thinking and doing things, he can be so decisive, meticulous, daring to fight, and able to endure. It's really incomparable. I feel numb in my back. When you accompanied her, pointing to the yard, Madam, come. And led her into the front living room. Master Ching greeted you at the door, Madam. Girl. MRSG's eyes widened as soon as she saw Master Ching. The people in front of me are familiar to the first eye, but unfamiliar upon closer inspection. Why do you feel this way? Personal demeanor, neither humble nor arrogant. With pride in my bones. She couldn't help but her heart was pounding. How could this girl Au get such a person? Master Ching is used to this kind of look and doesn't take it seriously. When you was not too surprised, because it was the first time she saw Master Ching, and she was also stunned for a moment. Madam, this is Master Ching, whom I invited to help open the embroidery building. MRSG had not yet reacted, and was still watching intently. To make it easier for him to work, Master Ching wears a flowered handkerchief and a tight-fitting coat and skirt. Seeing that MRSG was still a little stunned, she bowed again. Lady. MRSG forced a smile and said, Master Ching is different from the dressmakers I have seen before. Very charming, isn't it? When you smiled mischievously, Madam, please come in. When I came in, I saw that such a spacious room was filled to the brim by Master Ching. It's just a little messy, Madam and girl, don't blame me, Master Ching said sheepishly. Master Ching, if you put it this way, will you be able to find something when you want to find it, when you felt a headache? No problem. Master Ching looked at the room and smiled. The embroiderer and the little girls were all standing nearby and saw that MRSG was a little nervous. These embroiderers have been following Master Ching. They are very good at craftsmanship and work hard. Now they are helping to teach apprentices. These 6 little girls have only been learning for a few months. You see. Master Ching personally introduced it to MRSG. When we were selecting the candidates, we focused on them. So, the girls have only been working on it for a few months. Look, you can have such a work. MRSG still felt a little strange about Master Cheng. She took the embroidery from her and looked at it carefully. The stitching is smooth, the colors are harmonious, and the layout is innovative. Although he and his master are the same, they can already tell the differences in the things they make. Although MRSG's job is not good, she has good vision. The girls all started learning embroidery. After getting a little more stable, they will focus on training according to each person's characteristics. Like Xiaoer and Guoer, I took them to tailor. Now, the clothes they wear themselves, basically you can cut and sew by yourself. You will have a better experience if you wear it yourself. Water Lotus has a unique eye for color matching. Li Danio and Li Ernio are sisters, and their embroidery skills are very stable. The one the lady is holding was embroidered by the two of them. This girl is called Xiao Luer. She likes to make dolls and is somewhat self-taught. You see, this one is modeled after Master Lanzhou's turtle. MRSG took it and said, "Oh, it really looks like it? If Yuan sees it, she will definitely like it." When you also took one to look at, Xiao Luer, although this one is made very similar, it's a little too small. You have to remember that the shape and spirit are similar. You can exaggerate the features, such as this turtle, you can sew its eyes into pairs to make people laugh when they look at it, and children will love it. MRSG nodded, yes. You is right. There are many little girls like Yuan in the capital, and they are rare. They are also loved by the adults in the family, and they do not talk about others. What they do is interesting. I will give them all once I come. Yuan buys it back. Xiao Luer's eyes were bright, yes. Madam, girl. Xiao Luer understands. Master Ching smiled and said, Madam, among these masters, the shortest one has been with me for 3 years. Although they are women, some are disabled. But they work seriously and can support themselves. MRSG was very moved after hearing this. My mother's natal family is in Lingnan. They have already set up Chunyui Shantang, which helps poor women in the family and lets them learn spinning, weaving, etc. so that they can be independent and self-reliant. You guys can, it's great. If you work hard, you will not only be able to support yourself, but you will also be able to buy a house and live a prosperous life. The embroiderer's eyes were shining, their faces were red and they were nodding. The group of people arrived at the back hall. Yanzu knew that MRSG was coming and prepared meals for the whole morning. MRSG heard Granny Kui mention Yanzu, but when she saw her in person, she was surprised again. Sigh secretly, how did these two girls get together? Hook Yanzu and ask questions. MRSG particularly liked Yanzhu's temperament, and she laughed while talking. She actually secretly wanted to take her as her goddaughter. Master Ching explained the prepared things one by one, and wrote and drew on the table. When you also expressed the thoughts that had just occurred in the shop. Everyone discussed, and finally, MRSG came up with several ideas. When the time came, Yanzu shouted, "It's time to eat." Everyone put things away without finishing. Muling and Chen Wenjia have been fighting fiercely for a long time. At this moment, they were serving dishes like two butterflies, running in and out. Du Wan brought Lanzhou with him. He held the cotton box containing the little turtle, set up a small table for him, and sat alone. When you whispered a few more words to MRSG. When MRSG saw Lanzhou, he was clean, quiet, and relaxed. Her heart was moved again. At this moment, she wanted to ask herself how she found such a wife. After a while, more than 10 dishes, 4 snacks, and a basin of soup were served on the table. Yanzu said, there are too few vegetables in the capital, and many dishes cannot be cooked. Fortunately, we have prepared salted fish, bacon, pickled vegetables, pickled bamboo shoots, ham, salted eggs, dried shrimps, and even mash. Madam, This is Tao glutinous rice fish is Au's favorite. MRSG said, you have done so much by yourself? Why don't you prepare for several days? These dishes are not complicated and will be ready in a while. However, some dishes and snacks do take a few days. The cloud cake that Au likes to eat must have been eaten by Madam. It looks simple, right? But rice is required. Aging in advance will take at least 3 months. MRSG was a little surprised. How old are you, a little girl? How do you know so much? Madam, my Zuzu, no matter what the dish is, you will know how to make it as soon as you see it and taste it. Not only can you read what others think, but you can also think for yourself. If we want to open a restaurant, we have to count on her. But, I don't want her to do it. If you are entangled in these, it is best to come up with recipes and bring out disciples. Here, let's have some soup first. Yanzu was very proud. MRSG has never tasted it before. She was free and easy when she was young, but after getting married, she could only eat 70% of the food. But today, she was full. My father is delicious. If the food in our restaurant were of this level, we wouldn't need anyone else. He and his old friends would support our restaurant. When you thought to himself that if such a person came, good wine would be indispensable. Cousin, when the time comes, it will be time to use you. Everyone laughed, but she smiled the sweetest. After dinner, MRSG said, this is roughly the decision. Let's celebrate the new year in peace first. Then, I will take Zuzu with me to eat in all the good restaurants in the capital, and then decide on the characteristics of my own store. Everyone should respond. MRSG sat with Wenyu in the sun and sighed, you are a little girl, you can have ideas and gather talents. It is not easy. Wenyu said, these are actually only a small part. If we really want to do it, there are too many things to do. It also requires a lot of manpower, especially restaurants, which have their own special operating methods. If you don't understand, you may just make money. From what I've seen, I'm afraid it will cost a lot of money. Don't worry about the cost, I've prepared everything for you, just go ahead and do it. Madam. Wenyu was moved and wanted to laugh. I am extremely grateful to you for providing such a good shop. You know, you can't even rent a shop like this with money, let alone buy it. You have done enough. You don't have to worry about these expenses. Wenyu has a solution. MRSG didn't believe it. Au, this is not a small sum. Even if you have a house, it will cost tens of thousands taels. You are a girl, and at most you have your mother's dowry. How can you afford such a big sum? Pen. I have a lot of money in my hand. If it's not enough, I can also bring in a shareholder. No, 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 no need for others to interfere, we can just do it ourselves. There are too many shareholders and they don't have unified opinions, which is troublesome. Don't worry. Moreover, the rent of the shop will be paid to you. When MRSG heard this, she became unhappy and said, what are you talking nonsense about? The shop has opened and you have almost entered the door. How can we, as a family, distinguish ourselves from each other? When you blushed, after entering the door, if you love your wife and are willing to reward me, then I won't be pretentious. However, business is business and you can't mess with it. Even if you give your son in advance, you still have a biological eldest brother at home. It's easy for you, and if I cause you more trouble, you're too gentle and ignorant. Au, good boy. MRSG had the urge to cry. Since she was a child, she has never cared about money or objects. Even if you dislike the Su family, as long as Su Minghui does well and is loved, she will never treat her daughter-in-law badly. Aren't all properties given to the son? It's really not me who picked her. No, the role model is here. At this moment, Aunt Su is looking at her nephew. Having a bruised nose and swollen face, She is crying. He rode a horse and followed Wenyu and MRSG's carriage. He didn't even understand what was going on, so his head was covered and his mouth was blocked by something. Before he had time to scream, he was beaten. Having been fighting for a long time. When there was no movement, he got up and saw that his clothes were torn and his horse was gone. Robbery, murder, he shouted several times. The alley was very quiet, and no one came to see the excitement. As a last resort, I limped home. 3,000 words plus an update for readers, dream back to Mogan Mountain. Thank you for your constant companionship, appreciation, and real rewards. Hope you will be happy in the new year. All you stinkers are doing well too. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 149. At dusk, Chi-Wu returned home. Go back to your own yard first. He had been going to school outside, except for the two boys around him who had followed him since childhood. The girl in the house really hasn't had much service. Several people close to me were all arranged by MRSG. When I was sent here, I told you, work hard, get double monthly silver, and give a dowry when you are old enough. If you dare to think evil, you will not only be punished, but also bring trouble to your family. But the courtyard is at Chi's house, so how come no one has arranged it? Long time ago, even the sweepers were all pretty little girls. After staying in this yard for several years, she has now become a slender and beautiful girl. As he walked in, countless girls with red faces and heartbeats were watching. Chi-Wu had nothing to say in his own yard. After freshening up and changing clothes, I went to MRSG's room. Mother. Xiao Wu, are you back? Are you done with your work? MRSG was extremely happy when she saw her son back. It's over for now. Are you tired? Are you not injured? Come and have a couple of snacks. There was a flurry of excitement. Mother, my son won't eat. I got this from Wenyu. Did you know that mother met her? Look at me, you didn't come back, how could you know? MRSG was excited when she saw it. Chi-Wu moved his lips but said nothing. MRSG told her in detail about her meeting with Wenyu. Chi-Wu listened to his mother's happiness, picked up a small piece of snack and put it in his mouth. Not sweet, fragrant and glutinous, very good. Mother feels like she has found a treasure. Silly son, how come your life is so good? Not only did you escape the who has been haunting you for so many years, but you also got such a fairy. During the Chinese New Year, Mom is going to Duoduo to burn incense. Thank you Buddha for blessing us too. Chi-Wu nodded, when my son is free, I will accompany you. As soon as Chi-Wu entered the door, the old lady behind heard about it and immediately got busy. After a while, Chi Yuyi and several sons and daughters-in-law gathered in the old lady's house. MRSG and Chi-Wu were of course summoned. Chi-Wu followed his mother. Grandma, father. Big brother. Chi Wuchen said calmly. Chi Yuyi was very surprised when he saw it. If he saw this on the street, he would probably look at him several times, but he might not be able to recognize him as his son. Why does he look like this? Oh yes. When I was a kid, it was pretty much the same. Wearing a thick light blue twill brocade, the edges of the clothes are all hemmed with stripes of the same color. Very particular. Even the belt has jade beads sewn on it. My family is a military officer, and the clothes I wear on weekdays are of good quality, but the color and style are not so particular. Chi Yuyi came to a conclusion. He finally let Mr. Kui develop into a playboy. Looking at Chi Hua in a blink of an eye, Chi Hua looks pretty good, but it's a pity that he didn't inherit Xiao Yun's eyes. She looks a bit like the old lady, but the old lady is a woman. Qi Yang, where have you gone? It's been so long since my father came back, and I haven't seen you anywhere. Qi Yuyi became angry very quickly. Father, my son has gone out. What have you been doing? There is something important. Having said it means not saying it. Is it up to you to do something important? He looked Chi Wu up and down contemptuously. What else can't be said? Yuyi, please tell me what you have to say. Why are you shouting when you come up? It's hard for Xiao Wu to come back. If you scare him again, it's really serious. Old MRSG provoked a complaint. Mother, he is so outrageous. Okay, MRS-10 looked at Chi Wu with a smile. Tisk, we Xiao Wu are just pleasing to the eye. This time, the Emperor Qinkaiu has a martial arts competition. Xiao Wu, you must go. Let them see. Look, who said that all military commanders are rich and rough? Su Minghui burst into laughter and said, Grandma, please stop saying that. If you don't go, you still have the heirs to be called a silver wax gun head, which will be troublesome. Chi Wu heard it and had no reaction. After hearing this, MRSG thought viciously, I have decided on the money to be invested in the shop. Chi Yuyi got angry and began to accuse him. It was nothing more than, if you don't study hard, you won't do anything for the Chi family even at this age. Look at your brothers, what does the eldest do? What about the second child? Chi Xiao looked at his brother in silence, feeling disgusted from head to toe. MRSG's eyelids were slightly drooped, her mouth was sarcastic, and she remained silent. Chi Yuyi's brains, he is still alive after leading troops in battles for many years, just because of his good fortune. If it had happened in the past, she might have argued and quarreled, and she would have definitely become embarrassed with her husband. Finally, the old witch has to come out to smooth things out. Now, I do everything as I please, so how can I have the energy to waste time with you? I still have to help my daughter-in-law open a shop. Princess Zhenyang, I heard about Jixiangzai, she is the owner behind the scenes. There are always many new looks coming out of Jixiangzai under the name of the exit of Princess Mansion. In the future, my daughter-in-law will inevitably have to compete with her for business. Oops, I have to win over Gensi. Princess Gensi was raised by the late Queen Empress Enchienur, and she has a close relationship with MRSG. Her husband-in-law was seriously injured, and the relationship between the couple is very good, so they usually keep a low profile. However, she can defeat Zhenyang alone. MRSG thought about it and felt that this was very interesting, and she even smiled on her face. Everyone saw. Tanchi was puzzled. Chi Yuyi was even more angry. Chi Xiao was shocked, mother is really sick. Finally, MRS Tan said, come on, it's appropriate. You can go back and clean up. Let's have a reunion dinner tonight. Chi Wu sent his mother back to her room. When she came out, Chi Xiao was standing on the roadside. Chi Yang. Chi Wu walked up to him and said, Brother. Chi Xiao looked at his thin body, but he was dressed in flashy clothes, and snorted coldly, the Chi family is heir to military success. How do you want to pursue your future? As a brother, try it first. Try your weight. Chi Wu didn't say anything. He walked towards the Chi family's martial arts training ground and extended his hand in a gesture of invitation. Chi Xiao was so angry that he felt that Chi Wu was provoking him. Turn around and go there. And secretly made up his mind, I will give you a big pain today. The martial arts field is in the side courtyard. On weekdays, the Marquis and the generals also conduct military drills here, and they are all guarded by guards. In the middle field, there are archery targets and some weapons. Originally, there were clothes specially worn for training. Chi Xiao walked up here in a hurry, thinking in his heart, I can take care of this sissy with just one hand, and I still need to change clothes. Step in and throw off your coat. That movement seemed to have been practiced many times, and it was so cool. Then, he tucked his robe up to his waist, stood in the center of the field, lost his temper, and looked at Chi-Woo sullenly. Chi-Woo came in slowly, took off his cloak and put it away carefully. He didn't change his clothes either, so he tucked his robe away. Standing opposite the eldest brother, Chi-Woo's eyes were clear and harmless. Chi Xiao's anger rose again as he sank, and he sneered. You have been like a girl since you were a child. Your mother sent you to Qinderu to study for so many years. She thought you would become a prostitute. Unexpectedly, you have no fame now. I am not involved in family affairs. My father and I are fighting outside. What are you doing? Dress well and show off in front of others. Do you want to be a playboy? He thought about how many sins he had suffered by living in the open air. How many injuries have you suffered? That is to say, we did not encounter any major wars. Our parents and our generation were very lucky and suffered no major casualties. But the hard-earned achievements and property were enjoyed and squandered by this sissy. What's even more hateful is that he monopolizes his mother's favor, but he doesn't get any of it. Okay, then today, I will beat you until your mother can't even recognize you. Chi-Woo said softly, if you want to hit me, don't talk too much. Hello. Before the good word was written, Chi Xiao struck out with a punch and went straight to Chi-Woo's cheek. Punching out his fist, he noticed that Chi-Woo's eyes changed. With a deep glare in his eyes, he shook his head slightly, and his left hand pulled his fist. His right elbow went to Chi Xiao's abdomen. So fast. Chi Xiao was shocked. His reaction was not slow either. I quickly twisted around, but I was too careless before and couldn't completely avoid it. Hunted by Chi-Woo, he took a step back and felt a slight pain on his left side. Before Chi Xiao could react, Chi-Woo took a step forward and his right knee came up again, still running towards Chi Xiao's abdomen. Chi Xiao was shocked again. What happened to him? I used my palms to block it, and it was shaken for a while, but nothing happened. This time, Chi Xiao took the initiative to take a few steps back and stood there, looking at Chi-Woo. His rhythm is messed up. He avoids it first and then starts again, otherwise he will be too passive. Chi-Woo did not pursue him anymore, but looked at Chi Xiao. It seems that there were two moments, but it's a pity that it was just a waste of time. It was indeed Chi Xiao who was careless just now. He originally just wanted to swell that beautiful face and give him a black eye. Let my mother see it. I didn't expect this guy to have more time. Chi Xiao was beaten with real swords and guns on the battlefield. He is not very good at hand-to-hand combat. Hence, he stopped being careless and contemptuous, and started fighting Chi-Woo seriously. What he said in his heart, my fist is hard. As long as I touch it, you will be choked. It's a pity that Chi-Woo's body is flexible and his fists are not soft either. As a result, Chi-Woo's arm was kicked by Chi Xiao. Chi Xiao was kicked in the stomach and by Chi-Woo. For a while it was hard to tell the difference between up and down. But for Chi Xiao who wants to conquer Chi-Woo with one hand, it is equivalent to losing. So we started to hate each other, and we fought back and forth for a long time. Finally, Chi Xiao got it. He gave Chi-Woo a slap on his cheek. Although he avoided most of the force, it was not damaged. But he still got hit. As for Chi-Woo's white skin, I really couldn't stand it, so he showed me it all at once. But Chi-Woo, who was beaten, suddenly changed again. His movements suddenly became fierce and sharp, and his moves were aimed at Chi Xiao's vital parts. Fast and cruel, one move after another. Chi Xiao was a little overwhelmed and in a hurry. However, every time Chi-Woo was about to succeed, he backed down. After a few clicks, Chi Xiao understood, this is giving in to himself. He is so shameless that he is too embarrassed to fight. So he stood there angrily and didn't move. Awkward and angry, come on, come on. Come over here, he pointed at his neck and made a fuss. Chi Wu stopped and straightened out the messy clothes that Chi Xiao had kicked. Brother, you don't have to be like this. If you're on the battlefield, dancing with guns, shooting arrows, or arranging troops, I can't compare to you. Chi Xiao felt a little better after hearing this, but he refused to express it. Chi Wu said, I still have something to do. If I don't fight, I will leave. Chi Xiao huffed angrily, glared at Chi Wu fiercely, and walked out of the venue first. It's not cool to pull one's cloak. Happy New Year. Good luck. One update first, and then we have to go out for dinner. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 150. As soon as when you returned home, the old lady asked Aunt Song to deliver the news. The old lady said that she will take some girls out tomorrow. The elder girl has something to do and must make arrangements later. When you smiled and said, which house are you going to and what gifts do you need to prepare? Go to the Wang family, the eldest man's boss. The old lady said that there is no need to prepare any special gifts for the girl's family. If you can get along with her, it's up to you to interact with her in the future. When you nodded, that's all. Yuan was saying to Mrs. Wen, if my sister-in-law is willing, please take over the kitchen first. She has been housekeeper for many years, so she must know everyone's taste better. Old Mrs. Wen nodded, I'm glad you have this intention. The harmony with the Wu family is the best sign of the Wang family. Looking back, let me ask, it seems that you have done a good job in all aspects these days. When being generous and doing things properly is also influenced by you. Thank you, mother, for the compliment. Huan is very good. When I came here, I heard the boss say that she has plans for her marriage. Yuan's smile did not change. Since I entered the capital, I have received a lot of requests. They all look good. The day after tomorrow, long live the Kinkaiu, our family also got a post. I went to the two of them, and you asked for another one. You can go 2 more. For such a big event, there will be many young men, and I will need your help. Old Mrs. Wen felt strange, but nodded, 4 people, then the 2 of us, plus Wen Yu and Wen Huan. Mother, it's not that the wife is unwilling. The eldest girl's marriage has been decided, and she will just go there to watch the fun. Wen Jiao is almost old. She still looks like a little girl, so it is necessary to experience and settle down. Yes, you are right. Huan and Jiao are running out of time. Are they going to the palace? It's in the corner of the palace, with a hall and a polo field. We just follow the instructions and kowtow. Then we just talk to someone we know well. It was probably the same as in Prince Wu's mansion, so Mrs. Wen didn't panic. What should I prepare? We belong to an ordinary family, and we can't go to the front, so don't be nervous. Your daily application will be fine. Everything has its designated place, and you can't go wrong. The old lady nodded. She was not ignorant. I'm going to Mr. Wang tomorrow. The old lady of the Wang family is very easy to get along with. The 2 girls in the family are good friends with Huaner. My wife has prepared a gift for you. You can take a look at it later and use it if it works. If you have anything more you want to give, okay. The New Year's gifts are all ready. Okay. The old lady also heard her son mention the Wang family. Tomorrow, tell the eldest girl to let her go too, knowing that she is coming, it's inappropriate not to show up. Someone has already told her. Then my wife will go and do her work first. You can talk to your sister-in-law. If she is willing, just in time, this year, let her take over. Become. Mr. Yuan left, and Granny Song came back. Old lady, I've already told the eldest girl. What did she say? The older girl said yes and asked if she would like to bring a gift. Humph, now she is sensible again. Old lady, we big girls know everything, it just depends on whether we want to do it or not. This girl, just now, I asked Yuanqi about Wen Huan, and it turned out that the boss said that he was very interested in joining the Li family, and he was quite satisfied. But just now I heard what Yuanqi meant, it seemed. Old lady, it turns out that there is no such thing as a big girl. Yes. That's what I'm worried about. To be honest, it looks good, but in fact, we don't know what's inside. However, if the Yuan family and Wen Huan are upset, we must find someone better than Wen Yu. If you are strong, then you are making a mistake. It's great if you can find it. How can it be so easy? The Li family doesn't know what they are talking about. Don't offend others like I did last time. The next day, the old lady took the Wen family members out. Wen Su and Wen Wan squeezed into Wen Yu's car. Wen Su asked, "Sister, tomorrow the emperor will hold a grand event, will you go or not?" Wen Yu has been running around with Ziaji and Lava these past few days, but he really doesn't know about this. You haven't told me yet, so you shouldn't go, right? Wen Wan curled her lips, go to Wen Xiao. Didn't you see her smile? She can't even close her mouth. I haven't paid attention in the past 2 days, is it fun? Of course it's fun. We can meet the emperor, the prince, the princess, the princess. Why are we going to the capital? Isn't it just to broaden our horizons? That's right, when you thought about it? He didn't mention this to MRSG yesterday, it would be good to go and take a look. Think of a way. As he was talking, he arrived at Wang's house. MRS Wang brought her daughters Wang Ruxin and Wang Ruyi to welcome her at the second gate. The Wang family's house is similar to the Wen family's house. This makes Wen Wan, who wants to open his eyes, a little disappointed. He whispered to Wen Yu, "Isn't he uncle's boss? Why is the house not as good as ours? Although my father's official position is not high, the Wen family has a lot of money, and the Song family helps. It's not like the capital is blooming with flowers." Wen Wan thought that she might not be able to get into a house like this in the future, and she couldn't help but feel discouraged. As a group of people walked inside, the Wang sisters couldn't help but look at Wen Yu. Wen Huan saw it, and although he felt hatred in his heart, he didn't show it at all on his face. After entering the house, MRS Wen and MRS Wang met. Be polite. Then the girls met the old lady as a gift, and the 2 old men gave the younger generation a gift. MRS Wang shook her head and sighed, "Sister, how do these girls in your family look? They are so beautiful." I sighed for a long time when I saw Wen Huan. But today, they are all the same. Especially this big girl. She looked at Wen Yu and smiled gracefully. Good looks and good demeanor, he is also top-notch in the whole capital. Wang Ruxin shouted, "Grandma, if you like it, replace our sisters with the Wen sisters." Wang Ruyi also nodded, "We let MRS Wen take care of her, and it's hard to say that she's become more beautiful." You mean, you dislike Grandma for not raising her well? If you think we don't look good, we'll just say you didn't raise us well while MRS Wen is here, you can quickly learn from it what do people feed them every day. Do you think it's a piggy? Everyone laughed. MRS Wang also specially called Wen Yu over and took a closer look with admiration. Then he said, "I heard about your marriage. The Qi family is a good family. The old lady of the Qi family is well known in the circle as a bodhisattva. If anyone has any difficulties, he will definitely help if he asks her for help. She is also very good at enlightening people. If you feel uncomfortable, just tell her and it will make things better." This is the first time Wen Yu knows about MRSG in other people's impressions, and then thinks of MRSG's sadness when she mentions her. I couldn't help but think to myself, this MRSG is really a person. Old MRS Wen was outside and was quite talkative, so the 2 old ladies started chatting. MRS Wang and MRS Yun are explaining what happened tomorrow. The Wang sisters and the Wen family went to the side hall to talk. The Wang sisters were obviously very curious about Wen Yu, and asked within an appropriate range, "What do you like to do in your daily life? Where were these clothes made?" Wen Yu was secretly happy. "Well, potential customers." Then Wang Ruyi said in confusion, "At first, we thought Wen Huan was the Wen eldest daughter." Her words were not meant to stir up trouble, but she was really confused. Wen Yu smiled and said, "I have been with my grandmother since I was born, but my second sister has always been with my father and mother in office. Speaking of which, it is in the capital that we get along longer." Wen Huan also nodded, "I've been told that I'm used to it, but now every time I have to call me sister, I still can't get around it." Wang Ruxin also nodded, "Look, Huan is more like a sister." Wen Huan's heart skipped a beat, but she is now able to manage her emotions well. "That's why I always say that I am the eldest child in the family." Everyone didn't understand why and laughed. The topic has changed again. Wang Ruyi whispered to Wen Yu, "My brother has met Mr. Chi Wu and said that Penin and Song Yu are like this." She also imitated her brother and shook her head. Wen Yu quite liked this girl's temperament and couldn't help but smile. "Wow, Wen Yu, you are so beautiful. I think Jing Cheng can compare with you." "Hey, Wang Ruxin, tell me, who is as beautiful as Wen Yu in Jing Cheng?" Wang Ruxin looked at Wen Yu and blinked, "Lu Wan and the Yongning County Lord of Princess Zhenjiang's mansion." "What do you think?" Wang Ruyi was dissatisfied, but he didn't say why he was dissatisfied. Wen Huan and Wen Yu didn't feel indifferent at home at all, but looked like sisters getting along well with each other. Wen Jiao couldn't help but sneer. Gentle and thoughtful, without any abnormality, she joined in with a gentle voice. Watching it, Wen Su couldn't help but admire Wen Yu and Wen Huan's acting skills. "I want to celebrate the holidays but don't want to write words.